Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Special thank you to our sponsors, the Gillette Home team of Keller Williams and Laura Gillette. For all your real estate needs, go to teamgillette.com. And H&R Block of Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon, and Kaiser. For more information on your tax preparation needs, call 541-928-6432. Woohoo! Yeah.
Woo.
We are ready for The Experience live with Russ and Scott. How you doing, Scott?
It's great, and welcome to July. And in honor of Independence Day, I did break out the MXL 990 Patriot microphone just because, sometimes you can. So there you go.
That's so awesome.
Happy
I love
Independence
it.
Day.
Well, in honor of Independence Day and the 4th of July, we had a lovely trip to the Oregon coast to probably the only town on the coast that does not allow fireworks, which was the entire intention of our trip because we wanted to relax and take our dog who freaks out on fireworks. So we had so much fun, and there was not one firework. It was beautiful, lovely. Nobody broke the law. It was great.
Oh, wonderful. That's a nice, relaxing time. My wife and I, we love going to the coast. It is her favorite place. And living where we live, it's less than an hour. And we can go walk on the beach, have a meal, come back, and it's still early in the day.
Yeah, it was fabulous. I love it. In the day, we actually went on the 4th of July early in the morning. We got there. The hotel we were staying at was beautiful, right on the coast, right on the beach. There was a Moe's fish and chowder house right there next to it that we had lunch at with, sitting on the patio looking at the coast. And it was just gorgeous. The weather could not have been better. Nice. Sunny, like probably mid 70s, no wind. It was gorgeous. So yeah, it was a great time. So, but I just want to thank everybody for being here. We are here every Wednesday on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That's right. And today I'm on location at one of our sponsors. There you go. That's the Gillette Home team. We're so thankful for them, for all your real estate needs. And our other sponsor, we're so thankful for H&R Block of Albany, Lebanon, Corvallis, and Kaiser. Boy, both of them have been such a blessing because it allows us to come here and be with you just after we came off our pre-show on Instagram with our good friend Shri on The Experience Backstage. That's so much fun, isn't it, Scott?
It's a lot of fun because it's very free form. And today we're talking about habits and routines. And Shri has actually got some stuff coming up to share, some teaching, coaching work. So everyone, make sure you're following Shri over on Instagram. And I'm sure the links will magically appear.
They will magically appear from our super great teammate Ever, who's going to do that for us. And listen, I want to tell you, Gail, our good friend's here this morning. Her show is just as this one ends, and Shri is going to be on that show. So you
Whew,
should pop over there. And then right
it's
after
a
you get
good
off
day.
that show, you can jump over to our good friend Tim and Jim on the Tim and Jim shows. We just have them boom, boom, boom. All of our friends going
Yep.
live.
And my wife, Christine, her show, the Aging Better Network,
Yes.
9 a.m. Pacific time, over on LinkedIn. So her channel. So you can go to agingbetternetwork.com and you can find her at LinkedIn, Christine Smith. So there you go.
I like that hyphen Smith. Oh my goodness. Well,
Whew.
I am just so excited for this morning. We
Yeah.
have two amazing people,
hmm
and I think we should get to it, Scott, and
Yeah,
you and I
let's do
can
it.
get the
Let's
rest
do
of the
it because
information
we
at the
always
end.
run out of time, and let's fill it.
Let's get on it. Let's get on. So we always go ladies first.
hmm
Dr. Toni is with us this morning. She is all about success, but we're going to let her tell you more about herself. Here she comes. Dr. Toni's in the house. Woo! Morning.
Good morning.
Hello,
How you
everyone.
doing?
Good morning. So
You,
good to
we,
be here.
well, we are so blessed to have you. Thank you. And we're all about success, so we're right with you this morning. We want you to give everybody a little snapshot about you because I know a lot of people already know all about you. But for those that don't, tell us a little bit
hmm
about Dr. Toni.
Sure. So I'm a mom of 3, and I have my 4th one on the way right now. So motherhood is very important to me, and I'm also a multi-business owner. So I'm a psychotherapist. I've been a psychotherapist for over a decade at this point. And then I have my second business as a success and satisfaction mentor, which has reignited the fire in me to finally get some books out, which I've always been wanting to do, but they were kind of stalling in the background. So this year I released my first solo book, which became a bestseller on Amazon, The Reset, High Achiever's Guide to Freedom and Fulfillment. So if you're a high achiever or a doer, a goer, then for sure this book is for you.
Well,
Congratulations on writing and publishing. Near and dear to my heart.
yeah, it is. You're right. Well, that obviously is a book I have to get. I'm a goer, I'm a mover, as I know it's hard to tell that. And I am all about success and satisfaction. I think
hmm
it's so important when we have purpose and direction in our life. We can be so much more satisfied. We're going to achieve so much more significance and then be successful. So I know that you have so much more great information. What do you do exactly? So you have a day job and you do your coaching. So your psychotherapist job is your day job?
They're both mine. So they're both mine. The schedule
Just
that
trying
I
to sort it out in my brain.
They are separate businesses because therapy and coaching are not the same. Although you can receive coaching in therapy, you can't receive therapy in coaching. So they are, one is clinical and one is non-clinical. And so I do both, and I love my clients in both. At this time, I don't see myself stopping one or the other. In the coaching realm, I've shifted to the term mentor. Hi, Shri. And the reason why is because that really is what I do. I guide you in a way that best fits you. I don't do cookie cutter. I incorporate brain science. We incorporate the soul, right? The purpose driven aspect that you were just talking about. That's so important that we forget about. And it's easy to lose sight of. And so I do that through, high impact one-to-one. Sometimes I do group coaching, but that's intermittently available. And then I have a ton of free opportunities out there on YouTube, free YouTube channel, and things like that. So anyone that wants to further explore, it's at boldandbalancecoaching.com. And I've all those courses and things like that on there.
And I love that you've added satisfaction in there because we have all met people who are in their career or financially hugely successful, and they hate every minute of what they do.
Yes, or their job becomes their escape, and they enjoy doing that because they're good at it, but then their relationships are falling apart.
hmm
That's not success. That's not success. So I'm really, really big on redefining
I'm a
success and balance are.
part of the Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind, which is run by Aaron Walker. And one of the phrases that he says is that in his business, he said it was successful. And he came home with a pocket full of money to a house full of strangers.
Yeah. No, that is such a insightful statement you just made, Scott, because, it is important. You guys know what I'm all about. I mean, we had such a great conversation, Dr. Toni, originally, and we just hit it off right off the bat because we're all about, purpose, significance, success, and all that they're doing and being satisfied. And, I'm all about, helping encourage, inspire others to live a purpose-driven life of significance, because I want people to love what they do, to take the God-given gifts they have and do amazing things, but love and be satisfied with that every step of the way. Because Scott, you're so right. I mean, you could achieve the whole world. How does that go? But lose your soul because you are not focused in on what's important. And I tell you,
what
when I
benefit
am
is
too
that?
busy and my beautiful wife says, "Hey, let's go to the store and do this real quick. I need your help." I purposely stop myself and say, "Okay, let's go do it," because I want to maintain what's most important in my life.
Good for you, Russ, because that's not easy to do. I mean, so by the time I was 30, I had achieved all my lofty goals, right? I owned my car, owned my home. I had my third child. I earned my doctorate. Like my third infant was in arms. I pumped after I defended my dissertation, right? Like I had achieved all the goals. I had all the marks of success. But afterwards, I was like, but now what's next? Like I met the goals that I had. Now I don't feel fulfilled.
Yeah. And that's where, if you understand your purpose, your goals flow out of your purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree with that. I think, well, one thing that I find, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Toni, but I think this is so true, is that so many people are lacking understanding of their purpose and why they're here on this earth. And I think that is where a lot of the challenges start. They have no idea really why they're doing what they're doing. Sometimes they kind of think they do, but they're plodding along. They really think of it as transactional. I'm here to make money at my job and support my family. That's not why you're here. I mean, that's what you do within that. But when it's all very transactional like that and very robotic, I almost, like boom, 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 boom. We were talking about habits earlier. Habits are a good thing, but habits can also get in the way, right?
It's all about balance. And that's why we have to redefine both. Redefine the success, redefine balance. I agree with you. We live in such an outcomes-based, I'm not going to say world. Let me not be too general, but we live in such an outcomes-based America, right? Here in America, we're so outcomes-based. And so if we're only pushing and striving and achieving and sacrificing to get to the next goal, then when we get to the next goal, what happens is we have another goal. And then we have another goal, and then we have another goal, and then it's never enough. Now, I'm not one to say that we should just be content and never strive for anything. I think that's part of the juiciness, the variety, the flavor, the savoring of life is, what's next and the eagerness and the excitement about that. But that what's next doesn't define our worth. That what's next isn't because we need to prove something. And that's something that I didn't realize was operating in the background of my life for decades, was I felt like I had something to prove because I never felt like I fit in. And so I was like, I gotta prove myself to show that I'm enough, to show that I'm wanted, to be wanted, right? And so that burnt me out twice before the age of 30. And I wound up, even as a therapist, struggling with anxiety and panic attacks. In middle school, I had bulimia and I was cutting all at that young, right? Wow. So my mental health, but no one knew. Because I was really, really good, right? I was really, really good at showing the world, I got it together. I'm this achiever. I will do for you. I will succeed. I will get the good grades. I will be the gifted student. You need it, I'll do it. I don't need anything. I won't be a burden to you. Just tell me what you need and I'll do it. And that shows the world this really strong face and armor, but it wears out it wears you out in the background. And then you don't really know, like, well, then who am I? What is the purpose that fulfills me?
Right. And that is exactly, I couldn't agree more. And so many people get caught up in success. And speaking of getting caught up in success and all about success, our next guest, Enrique, is here to share more insightful information with us. Good morning, Enrique. How's it going?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me today.
I
I love
love,
your title there.
yeah.
We're going to hear some more about this, I'm sure.
Well, we're just going to let you take it away. Go for it. We want to hear more.
Well, I'm loving the conversation because it is squarely it down the lane of where I operate, which is the difference between success and success. And it's funny because I'm listening to Dr. Toni, and all along I'm like, yes, that's right, because there's a mirage, there's a fallacy behind the word success, and it's this thing that I consider K factor, right? That K, that big K, right after the C, that makes your success. And Scott mentioned the story about the gentleman that had everything and came to a home that not and knew him not, right? And it's
Hmm.
because we fall into these K factor environments, what I call K factor environments, which deal with you, your talent, timing, environment, mission, and your results. And they all slip in like in the skies of darkness, right? Behind darkness. And you just never know. And Dr. Tony just said it very well. Nobody knew. Nobody knew because we do such a great job in masking these environments so that it's never apparent. But we suffer the consequences, right? Those breakdowns, those burnouts, those moments of losing yourself for the sake of everyone else. And so I was just loving the conversation. It was good.
Yeah. Well, I love what you just said there. When we lose ourselves, I am one thing that I have going right now is really, it's called successfully transform your business in 3 simple steps. But the first step is connecting to yourself. There's so many people that are losing themselves. They're not connected. They're not taking care of themselves. And I love using this overused analogy, but when you're in the airplane and the oxygen mask drop, you can be as much outward focused to help everybody else as you want. But if you don't put that mask on yourself first and take care of yourself, you're going to pass out and you cannot take care of anybody. And people don't realize that they are so driven and so focused outwardly. Sometimes they forget they've got to do some care for themselves first, or they will be stuck in success, not having significant success. Right, Scott?
That's right. It's that K factor. I love this thought because, again, you can achieve certain things on paper, but if you are not focused on your whole self, right, not just the financial, not just the professional, but also your relational and your spiritual and these areas we need to find ways to fulfill the whole self.
Yes, for sure. And Enrique, you're doing that by actually helping others. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, so I am the CEO of Triad Leadership Solutions, and I use this same model, the K factor model, to help and coach people through these things that are not visible. They only know it, right? Nobody knows it. We would say them and God, right? Um, and as leaders, as professionals, as people that are always out speaking and providing services, it's easy to have a mask. It's easy. It's so easy. And you can go so far and the world would never know that you had a challenge. So I use this K factor principle, which deals with, I mentioned earlier, you. And obviously, Russ, we use you first because that's ground zero. And Doc will tell you, right? I'm sure that's where she comes from. You first. We can't go anywhere if we don't start with you. Then we move into the areas of talent, because you can use your talent as a crutch to not, continue to progress. Timing, environment, mission, and results. But we use this K factor approach to helping leaders actually experience success. The funny thing is that you could say success or success, and it sounds the same. Nobody would ever know, right? Except that at the end of the day, you look in the mirror
Mhm.
and you know that it hasn't been all glory and mountaintops and parades and and celebratory events like we did yesterday for our nation. Um, so yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you talk about both of you. Sometimes we have to get out of our own way because we're so busy doing stuff that we're making things hard on ourselves. And you just mentioned parades. I was on the coast here on the 4th of July, and they had a parade, and it was in the way. The celebration, the success, all the excitement that was going on was in my way, right? And that just made me think sometimes we're so busy doing a bunch of
Mm.
stuff and pushing outward appearances, Dr. Toni, I'm going to go back to you, that we are so much putting on this, we're all great, that we're really not. And I just want to say one other quick thing before I let you comment on that. And that is my son is a musician, and he was with a band that he works with. He was watching them play at their concert, and the lead singer had a panic attack, had an anxiety thing during the concert, not from the music. The music does not make him anxious. My son has the same thing and deals with this. They could perform in front of millions of people. It's other things than life, right, that make them anxious. But anyway, whatever the case was, he had to leave the stage and come back. But what I love about what he did is he just opened up and told everybody, the
Mm.
thousands of people that were there to watch, what he was going through. And what did he get? He got empathy and applause and
Mhm.
support and strength. And the concert ended up being amazing because he was really who he was. He didn't try to put on a facade. So, Dr. Toni, talk about that importance of really being who you are, being really authentic and all that.
Well, there's a trickiness there, right? Because there's a defense that comes up when, especially folks like us who have a history of success, so to speak, is wait, but like I am myself. I'm not being fake, right? There's that defense. And so what it really is, if we peel back when we say like your real self or your authentic self or your true self, peel that back, and it's vulnerability, right? Because the mask that Enrique was talking about is protective. And we don't want to make it bad or wrong. This is a really big thing that I have to talk to all my clients about at some point in time. It's not bad or wrong. Once we call it out and realize it for what it is, this mask that we're wearing to protect ourselves, it was adaptive at some point. At some point, it helped us through, right? So for me, as my family was falling apart when I was younger, that was adaptive for me to step up and be like, well, I'm the one that's going to keep it together. Because if I fall apart in my child's mind, right? If I fall apart when everyone else is falling apart, what's going to happen?
Mm.
So
Mhm.
I'm the one that's going to keep it together. I'm the one that's not going to be a burden. I'm the one in my childhood mind. So what that turned into for me was a protective measure. It's just that when we're no longer in that same environment or at that same stage of life, it's now time to rewire, which is why I use brain science too, right? Rewiring, not just our habits, not just our interactions with others, but our actual internal dialogue and system, our nervous system, so that we can be vulnerable.
Mhm.
So that we can say, for example, the first book I released was a co-authored book with 24 other wellness practitioners. It was the first time I, in that way, publicly shared my hospitalization experience when I was in college. That was really vulnerable for me to share that, especially as a therapist who's supposed to know it all. And I do intellectually know a lot, right? That's a whole different thing when you're integrating it in your system and you're like, I don't want people to know that I struggle. I don't want people to know
Mm.
that it's vulnerable. It
Right.
doesn't feel safe to be
But
vulnerable.
this is where it's so important to have a therapist that actually does understand, has gone through it, is not looking at it from a textbook academic point of view. A friend of mine lost her husband, and so she was going through grief counseling with her counselor. And one of the reasons why she chose her was that this lady, the counselor said, the therapist was, I had been counseling people for years about grief. And then she lost her son. And she said, I wanted to go back and apologize to
Hmm.
all of the people because
Right.
now I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Mm.
What makes a true experience of
Mm-hmm.
your own really is sometimes the best teacher to really know. We think we know, what we're supposed to do. And like you said, Dr. Tony, the head knowledge and really understanding and knowing a lot, but really having that empathy of going through the situation can be tough. And that vulnerability is so critical, right, Enrique?
It truly is. This example that Scott just put out, it immediately took me to last year around April. My mom passed because of COVID. She got COVID, and 3 weeks later she passed. So I just had gotten hired, and now, I'm retired military, so I, I didn't have to go looking for nothing. But an offer was presented. I took it. Right, I took it February. March was going great. Boom, end of March, my mom gets sick. April, she passes away. It. I thought that I was seasoned enough. I've seen plenty of amount of conflict and death, throughout my military history. Um, and I thought that I was gonna be, good. That thing broke me down to the
Mm.
point where I could not think right, I could not act right, and I had to let go of that job. I had to. I just could not think straight. And so we only know what we have experienced, and we can only make a hypothetical guess about the things we might do until it happens. And you can be mentally strong. I think I'm mentally strong. I think I'm physically strong, except that I did not act like I thought I would.
Mm.
Right. Well, because we don't really know till it happens. And Dr. Tony, you being a mother can relate to this. This is a funny example. Just going to lighten it just a little bit because I've also gone through a lot of those situations. Enrique, my dad passed now 4 years ago, and my mom has Alzheimer's, and I deal with a lot of things that are really heavy, and you don't know how you're going to deal with that till you go through it. But on a funny note, when my kids were young, my daughter, who was the first, was the perfect child as far as behavior. She was compliant. Everything was good. Yes, daddy, and smiled. And we would go through the grocery store, and I would see these little boys throw themselves on the ground. And I would say, my kids will never do that. Never. Until we had our son. And then I don't know who taught him, but he threw himself on the floor almost immediately when he could walk and started doing that. I'm thinking, who does that? So anyway, you don't know what you're going to do until you're in that situation. And I had no control over that. I could have parented. I thought we did a decent job. I could have done twice as good. That was his character, and it was going to happen no matter what I did. So then it's how do we deal with that? And so it's in life, in the situations that we're all going through, how are we dealing with things? And I think bringing in that authenticity and the vulnerability in our lives and really being real draws people. And it also, Dr. Tony, just like you said, it's scary. I get it. We have that defense mechanism, but at the same time, people then go, wow, it makes us relatable. They go, wow, I can really relate to this person because here is this big star on the stage singing in front of thousands of people, and he is having anxiety attack just like I do at home. Right, Dr. Tony?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I've worked with children and teens and adults for quite a while now. And I have had this space in my heart for teens for the bulk of my psychotherapy career. And I've always been really good at working with them. And I was a single mom at first with my daughter. I can handle a toddler tantrum, right? So I thought it would be fine in teenagehood because I'm like, I understand their development, but a teen tantrum is a whole different experience. It just is. And I have worked with so many families to help them with their teens' behavior. And now that I have my first, going into teenagehood, I'm bracing myself in a different way, and needing to be patient and compassionate with myself in a different way. Now, that doesn't mean we can't support others just because we haven't experienced what they've experienced. The vulnerability in it is, I don't know. You're right. I don't know. And yet I'm here as a mentor. That's what I do. That's why I don't do cookie cutter. I'm not going to tell you I do know what if I don't know, but I will reflect back to you what it is I'm hearing you need and say, and your strengths and the challenges. And I will encourage you and challenge you to go deeper within yourself, because ultimately you are the one that's experiencing it. And I can't say that I know exactly what you're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's right. Scott, I knew you were going to say something, but until you experience it, you
Yeah.
can't tell them that. Go ahead, Scott.
I was just back on that lighter mode. I remember before we had kids, and my wife is a school teacher, and she understands kids in a way that I never will. So we had no children. We're going into a movie theater as a family movie. So there's families with their kids coming in, and we're outside the theater. We're in Oregon, so it's raining. And here comes this family with like this 3-year-old kid, and the child has no shoes on, barefoot, walking through the rain. And I turned to my wife and I said, "Same thing, Russ. I will never let my children do that." And she just shakes her head and is like, "You just got to pick your battles."
Yep.
It's like, maybe the child's wearing pants because, you made a compromise.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. When you don't fully understand it, that was it. And I laughed. So after I went through it, I would laugh at other parents when they would say, "Yeah, my kids will never do that." I'm like, "Yeah, good luck with that one." It all depends what God gives you, right? Because, we're all born a certain way, and life happens, right? We go out there, life happens, and we make decisions, we make choices, we do things and adjust based on what life happens to us.
And
And I
Mr.
think,
Responsible Host,
yeah, and just like
speaking
me
of
being
life,
the
we're gonna have to
responsible.
let our guests get into their life.
Yes, speaking of being the responsible host, it is time. And I was loving this conversation, but we have to wrap things up. So we're going to start with Dr. Toni. So what we need is your last words, what you want everybody to remember, and then how to get in touch with you.
Last words. Be vulnerable. It'll be okay. Be vulnerable. It'll be okay. And the best way to get in contact with me is you can always just email me directly at drtonywarner@gmail.com, or you can check out boldandbalancecoaching.com. There I have a ton of free resources if you just want to get your toes wet, really wanting to experience satisfying success in your life, or you can head over to Bold and Balanced Living on YouTube, where you can get a bunch of free videos to support you.
Perfect. And Enrique, you are next.
All right, I'll leave you with this. Success is your development through your journey. It's not a destination, right? It's not where you're going to end up. So you have to develop. And there's a difference between success and success.
Well, that is for sure. And what I wanted to tell everybody is we have been very blessed to have Dr. Toni and Enrique on today. But you know what? They're there for you to connect with, to contact, to get their information. All of their contact information is in the comments. It's in the show notes. It's clickable. All you got to do is click on it, and you can find out the difference between success and success. You can find out how to have success and satisfaction in your life. And we encourage you, please get in touch with them. We have left you today needing more information from them. So contact them and find out what's going on, because it is just such a blessing. People like Enrique and Dr. Toni, the things they can do for you and help you. We all need it. We all need a coach. We all need a mentor. We all need somebody to bounce things off of, right? And so we're just thankful for both of you being here today. We're going to say goodbye to the two of you, but hang tight in the green room, and we'll be right to you after we wrap up. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you guys.
Wow, that goes so fast. Thanks for reminding me. I wasn't even watching the clock this morning.
It goes so fast.
Host?
Because we've got such, that's such great information. And, when we have the Global Tea Break, which is the third Friday of every month, co-hosted with Alan Hennessy. And Alan reminds us that, these types of events are great, like the experience here today. But the magic happens when you connect in between. And I love the conversations that happen between folks when we have the experience. And I love hearing about saying, oh yeah, I had a great conversation with Enrique or Dr. Toni or something. That's the magic. So
It is.
don't
Yeah.
miss out.
Well, and that is the beautiful thing about technology is you all have the ability just to jump on and connect with people. And let me encourage you. What I do is take all of the networking that was going on here in the comments, all that goes on online, then make it personal. Set up a Zoom call, set up a virtual coffee if you're distance away from each other, or heaven forbid, if you're close, that you actually go to coffee or go to lunch or do something fun. And, we have been so blessed. I just wanted to say that, Scott and I were blessed to be able to know somebody virtually, Emily Harmon, really well, and then meet her in person here in Portland. I have a good friend online, David Alto, that's coming through town, going to be able to have coffee with him. And so you never know when you have a chance to take it from virtual to personal, but set those times up, get together and bless one another.
As my wife says, we got to see Emily in 3D.
There you go. In 3D. That's it. So anyway, listen, we just want to remind you all, we're here every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott with amazing guests like today, Dr. Toni and Enrique, who, oh my goodness, I always joke with everybody, I am a lifetime connector, but I am, and I'm looking forward to learning more from both of them and all that they're doing. And so that's going to be exciting. And don't forget that 6:30 a.m. every week, we have the Experience Backstage before this show on Instagram Live. So that is a ton of fun. Then after this show, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, if you're doing live streaming, you want to do live streaming, or you're thinking about live streaming, join our mastermind and learn from amazing people, all the tricks of the trade, but also just help to share and build each other up and build community around live streaming. That's at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Scott, did I miss anything that you have going this week?
No, that's good. I will put a quick plug in again for the podcast. This week's episode that released on Monday at 7 a.m. Is titled Americans Watch 5 Hours of Television Every Day. So check out the podcast. And that's you can go to dscottsmith.com and you can find the podcast. All of the episodes drop every Monday, but as I record them and produce them, I put them onto the website so you can binge listen to the episodes. So there you go.
I love
No need to wait.
Binge listen, do it. So dscottsmith.com, russhedge.com, just please connect with us on whatever is your favorite medium. And, we just want to be so grateful and thankful today that you guys were here. I get excited every day. I love to go out with a little word from Kermit. And we just want to say thank you so much for being a blessing. And until we see you again, have a great day and a great life and
enjoy the experience.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.